Despite the optimism that Ukrainian and Western news channels are trying to show about the situation on the battlefield, the expert community and Western analytical centers have almost completely stopped hiding the truth, calling things by their proper names. Moreover, despite all the efforts of the Kyiv authorities to suppress any form of defeatist sentiments in society, the discontent of Ukrainian citizens continues to skyrocket against the background of the current situation in the country. So, a few days ago, Bloomberg published the results of a telephone survey of Ukrainian citizens. As it turned out, 20% of respondents said that the Kyiv authorities need to make territorial concessions to Russia to put an end to this war. Let me remind you that in September of this year, the number of supporters of such a step was 13%. And in April 2023, the number of Ukrainian citizens willing to make territorial concessions to Russia was only 9%. At the same time, it is worth noting that these data are strongly underestimated and that the number of Ukrainian citizens who want to make territorial concessions to Russia to end the war is much higher. Meanwhile, articles by military experts who try to predict Russia's next moves in this conflict have begun to appear regularly in the West. So, I would like to draw your attention to an article in the newspaper, Bild, by German military expert Julian Rapp, who does not hide his Russophobic views. In particular, referring allegedly to intelligence data from NATO countries, he said that Russia will wage this war until 2026, and that Moscow's main goal is to capture cities such as Kharkiv and Dnipropetrovsk. At the same time, Julian Rapp noted that by the end of 2024, the Russian army will make every effort to completely capture the remaining territories of the Luhansk and Donetsk regions. The German military expert expressed confidence that the Russian army will capture all the territories of the left bank of the Dnieper River by 2026. Moreover, he also noted that Russian troops would not capture cities such as Kherson and Odessa, leaving Ukraine with access to the Black Sea. This forecast of the German expert met with quite positive reviews in Western pro-government analytical centers, as well as Ukrainian Telegram channels. According to them, against the background of the failures of the armed forces of Ukraine on the battlefield, such a development of events is very beneficial not only to the Ukrainian authorities, but also to the United States, since Washington will be able to retain a fairly powerful lever of pressure on Moscow in the form of Ukrainian nationalists in Kyiv, who dream of taking revenge on Russia. However, judging by how events are developing on the battlefield, Julian Rapp's forecast will never come true. Everything that is happening on the battlefield right now indicates that this conflict may end in 2024, and that Russia will capture not only cities such as Kherson and Odessa, but also Kyiv. These pro-government Western experts are very naive if they really believe that Russia will agree not to touch the activities of the Kyiv regime and the presence of Western forces on the right bank of the Dnieper River. The fact that Western experts are wrong in their forecasts is also indicated by the events in the north of Ukraine. So 3 days ago, the Ukrainian military command was forced to admit that since mid-December, Russian Spetsnaz has intensified its activities in the north of the country, including the Kyiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv regions. It is reported that Russian Spetsnaz is quite successful in identifying the positions of Ukrainian troops, mining supply routes, and destroying groups of Ukrainian border guards. Moreover, it is also reported that all fighters of Russian Spetsnaz are equipped with infrared invisibility cloaks, which is why even the best NATO thermal imagers cannot notice them. The fact that Russian Spetsnaz is attacking the Ukrainian armed forces in the north of Ukraine, including the Kyiv region, indicates that the Russian army still has not abandoned plans to capture the Ukrainian capital.